Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Thursday episode of the Hog Talk podcast, presented to you by Vision Exteriors, live from the Sterling Soap and Roastery Studios, part of the Believe and Buzz Radio Network, where you can hear us each week on 106.7 Buzz 2 in Central Arkansas. All live shows are presented by Arkansas Brewing Company in downtown Ozark. I'm Porter Hayes. Alongside me, as always, is Adam Hall. And on tonight's Thursday episode, we're going to talk some Arkansas baseball, softball, and started off with will Cal win a national championship at Arkansas with the opening of portal season. Adam, how's everything going, man?
Tough, rough day, if you will. Just give a quick shout out to Hub's Animal Clinic on Alma Highway in Van Buren. We had to put down my girlfriend's 17-year-old dog today. So very professional, very compassionate, and thoroughly appreciate them taking care of things today.
Yeah, absolutely. Pet owner, I've got 4 to 5, depending on what my wife wants to rescue. I tell everybody I married Sarah McLaughlin because she just wants to rescue every dog that there is, and then you take them in, and I could imagine 17 years. It's like a child. So thoughts and prayers with y'all and Hub's medical vet clinic.
Hub's Animal Clinic. Yeah.
Animal clinic there in Alma. So if you need any pet needs, veterinary needs, give them a shout out. Also, man, we opened up the show. We didn't have a Monday, just a lot of stuff. Adam was going through stuff with the pets, got family stuff. So we did not end up having a show. So just kind of a forewarning of everything going on with us here at Hog Talk. So we are normal people. We have things. I hope everybody had a happy Easter as well, but we'll get right into it. We're going to start with the poll. It's kind of the topic of our show. Will Cal win a national championship at Arkansas with the March Madness over with? Michigan really surprised me and winning it all. I thought Arizona was just going to, run roughshod through the whole thing after their performance against Arkansas. But if you want to type 1 in the chat or 2 to put your vote in there, will Cal win a national championship? Is he going to get bigs? What's the deal with his roster? And will it be enough with the incoming freshmen and current Hogs to win it all at Arkansas? Adam, what do you think he could eventually get it done in Arkansas?
Yes, I think he could. There's a lot of factors at play. I feel like, we talk about his recruiting classes, his recruiting of freshman guards. There's still a lot of obstacles in the way when it comes to just the landscape of college basketball, what it is right now. I think that he himself, we talk about these coaches that don't want to adapt and evolve when it comes to like NIL, transfer portal. Maybe Clemson's finally or Dabo Swinney's finally starting to see he's got to change things a little bit. And it's almost like, Cal's on the kind of other end of that spectrum. He doesn't mind the NIL. I think he has more of an issue with eligibility and the tenure of some players. But I feel like he still has to adapt and evolve to today's game. And by that, we go so guard heavy and we have these small, limited roster rotations of, really only using 8 to 9 guys when we got 15 on the roster. I think he's got to figure this out. We keep talking time and time again about having to get bigs. And if it's not addressed this offseason, I don't think it ever will be. So I think that he's got to look within himself. I understand that he wants to get as many players as he can to the NBA. I know he wants to better the futures of the players that he brings in. But at the same time, you still have another job to do, and that's to win a national championship at the school you're in. It's tough to do. I mean, he got to the national title game at Memphis. He won one at Kentucky. So it's not, in reality, it's a stretch just because he's only done it one time before.
Yeah.
So I think he's capable of it. I just don't know that I see it happening.
I'm voting no. Not just to differ with you or not just for, but two things that have kind of alarmed me. And I had even pointed one out to you previous shows. I think that how he is with not getting the bigs. And I don't know what it is about Arkansas and getting out worked, bullied. I mean, Musselman did the same thing. You know, when it came to getting beat on the inside, you know, the Baylor and you know, we talked about last show about just you look at who in the Illinois, Arizona, Michigan. I mean, they were physical and outworked you. And you can go get the guards all you want, but you got to get the bigs. Second thing, and he kind of alluded to it, and I brought this up. He don't want to go get these older guys. It's almost like you're talking about. You brought Dabo up and not adjusting to the NIL. I don't think he's really adjusting to wanting that 25, that 26-year-old stud to lead you down low. And so there's a detractor. And if honestly you want to go a third reason, he wants to get the guys to the NBA. And I've said that from the get-go. And I think Razorback fans, this is not a knock. I'm not saying this in a, hey, you have to settle for this, because you are still a program that can get to a Sweet 16, Elite 8, Final Four. You could win a national championship. I just don't think he will. But I think as a fan base, especially when you look around, and we'll get into the baseball and we'll get into the football and everything later on the show. When you look around you, this is what you have, but be happy that this is what you have, because you still have it's a borderline elite program. I still think they need to get some Elite Eights, get a Final Four before you can say you're an elite program. But the fact that he's alluded to the fact he's looking out for his guys. Why do you think he's against the 25, 26-year-olds? He don't want his freshmen that is coming in from high school to compete with these older guys and to potentially getting hurt. And not, you know, it maybe keep them from getting to the NBA. And Hartman, yes, I appreciate the pause call there. So, yeah, you know what I meant, but I got you. Thank you, sir.
You know, it's ultimately I get where he's coming from with the way he does things and wanting to better the lives of his roster players. But here's the thing: is you can do both, because guess what? Getting a national championship gets those guys looked at, etc. I don't know. I think he's got to make adjustments, and I think it's got to be bringing in big men. And I believe it's got to be potentially expanding your rotation from 8 to 9 to 11 to 12.
Yeah.
You know, we've talked about it a couple of weeks ago on HQ, and then we talked about it on here. You know, getting back to a 10-ish, 11-ish player rotation, having two different waves of players that come in. I think that's what you need to do. And I get it that we're living in a world now, and we're seeing it right now with, you know, the likes of I'm just going to use two of the four players that have entered the transfer portal for Arkansas, but DJ Wagner and Carter Knox. You know, they want the minutes. And especially with DJ Wagner going into his last year of eligibility, barring whatever possible extensions, they want to go somewhere that they're going to get the minutes. If they end up at North Carolina and follow Chuck Martin, do I think that they'll get the minutes there? Maybe. Carter Knox might. But at the same time, going to a school like that, I feel like you're going to be in a similar boat of fighting for the minutes and coming off the bench for that team. So I get it. Players are going to transfer when they don't get the minutes. But like we've talked about before, Cal's bench players still get drafted.
Yeah.
You still get looked at because you play for John Calipari. So I think it's just finding guys that can accept roles like we've discussed many times before and trust his system.
Yeah. And in this comment right here, you can win with this one right here. You can win with 9 players. But Cal don't do that. I'm looking at their game against Arizona. And if you want to count Sealy's 5 minutes, they played 8 guys.
Mm-hmm.
You take that away, they ran with 7. Okay. Arizona, they had they had 7 guys, but 24-13. You had 3 guys get it. So they ran with 7 guys. But then you go over the Michigan-UConn game, and they had 4 guys. UConn ran 4 guys off the bench, and Michigan ran 3 off the bench on top of their starting 5. So, I mean, they're running an 9-man rotation. But if you're going to do that, you're going to have to mix it up. You can't go guard heavy and run 7. You're going to have to either switch it up to where you're going to have to more quality guys down low, and they're good. I think that's the thing. Ewan was decent, but you almost have to have twice of what he was: athletic, physical, talent, if you're going to go with him as your sole guy down low.
Mm-hmm.
But that's what's going to keep it. But again, it goes back to the point of, even if he doesn't win a national championship, does that how long is that going to be okay with the Razorback fan base? How many years will they take of this if they say they get to a Final Four and that's as deep as they go? Final Four. How many years does that get out? If that is as far as they ever go? Because I know if you get to the national championship game, it's going to make it go further, but outside of winning it, what's it going to take for you to settle of, okay, we might not never win a national championship, but I'm okay with a Final Four. I'm okay with a national championship appearance, because one, what was Arkansas going to be without Cal? What was going to happen without Musselman? And what would happen outside of Cal? Because is Tyson, the money bag, is he going to continue to support the team once Cal leaves?
I say this because I know that is an end in sight to Coach Calipari's career. So I feel like that he's going to be, I mean, I think fans are going to get restless after next season if we don't advance further.
I agree.
But with John Calipari, it's one of those, I feel like he can stay as long as he pleases. But by that, I'm saying that because I believe it's only going to be 4 to 5 years. It's not going to be another 12 plus years.
Yeah.
So I look at it like he's going to be able to stay until he's ready to go, i.e. retire. I think that's going to be in 4 to 5 years. So I do think after this next season is when fans are going to become more restless than they are right now. Great. 2 Sweet 16s in your first season, or your first 2 seasons. But this is when we start comparing, and you brought this question up before. We were going to kind of compare him to Eric Musselman. Hey, we got to an Elite 8. So it's when are we going to take that step further? I think that now that we've made back-to-back Sweet 16s, you've got to improve, and it's got to be this next season. You've got to go Elite 8 or Final Four in this next season, or it's one of those that this is the best that it's going to be.
Yeah. And there's nothing wrong with that, because consistent, and this is if Tyson continues to funnel the money to the program. You're going to have a Sweet 16 team, Elite 8. You're going to get there. And I'm not posing this as I think he should be elsewhere. I'm just coming from the fact that at what point do we say, okay, he's not going to get a national championship? We don't think he's going to get a national championship. What are we going to be with? DP, we're honestly I'm gonna go apples and oranges on this, because this man was a pop fly short of a national championship. I know he technically did not win a national championship, but that was as close. And Adam and I had talked about that. That has a lot to do with expectations from the fan base, because you were that close from one of your programs winning a national championship, and that PTSD, and that you're going to hold your breath until one of these programs wins a national championship. because that's the closest you've been since 96. But you can't hold that completely against him when you were that close, literally a pop fly. The only thing you can bring it closer to is, it affecting a loss was the Bo Nix fumble in the football game. That referee's call directly impacted the game. That pop fly would have won you a national championship. Yes, you come out and laid an egg in the next game. You should have won the next game to win it all. But as being, I've never seen somebody get closer in a sport, if you want to count a buzzer beater in basketball, from winning a national championship.
They're similar. It's similar but different. I do see where DP's coming from, though, just because I think that one of the big differences is the fact that Cal has won one before, whereas DVH hasn't. But time is of the essence for both of them. So both programs are going to have struggles after these two coaches leave.
Yes.
There's no doubt about that. I think that John Tyson.
We're already starting to see those struggles, though. And that will be another thing we could talk about second segment when we get into the baseball. I think we're already starting to kind of see those struggles.
Does Hunter Yurchek get replaced before or after Cal's shelf life reaches its expiration date? I feel like that it's one of those with Hunter Yurchek that I'm not going to say that he gets to say when he goes, but I feel like he gets to stay to the end of this contract. And then it'll just be we're not going to renew unless somebody like Cal or DVH is Yurchek's saving grace. Or if the football team, which we'll get into this later too, has a miraculous turnaround, year one, year two, which I don't think is going to happen. Some people do. Those are the only two ways that I could see them being like, hey, let's give Hunter Yurchek a raise and keep him longer. So I see him, though, being able to ride out his contract.
You hit the nail right on the head. To answer that question, the shelf life of Cal has nothing to do with Yurchek being replaced, because Cal has his funding. Cal has his NIL. He has John Tyson. As long as he's here, he's winning. Hunter Yurchek, that's his saving grace right now. Hunter Yurchek's life, his vitality hangs in the balance of the football program. Because I'm telling you, you go next year don't count, because I expect this team to win 2 games. But you go 2-10 and 2-10, and we're not talking about who the next coach is, or people just stop showing up, or you're not getting NIL money, or you're not doing all these things to advance your football program. Hunter Yurchek's shelf life could be shorter than Cal's, because Cal, no matter who the athletic director is, he's got money from an outside source. So, and I'm not ready to say it yet. I really want to see how this football season goes, but I'm damn near close at him to putting $100 on that that Cal outlives Hunter Yurchek at Arkansas. I'm close, because I just think that how much they're getting tired of Hunter. And if they don't start getting money, and if they're stockpiling, let's see how this goes with Silverfield year 2. So you at least know that Silverfield's going to get 2 to 3 years. Let's see how things go. But if the money's not there, he's not fundraising. If we're having not the team, because again, we're going to give Silverfield a chance. But if you're not fundraising, you don't have a name. Where's this name that we've been talking about? Where's the stadium? Where's everything that you've promised us? And yes, Silverfield has some stuff to be held accountable for too, with what he's promised. And we'll see how that goes. But long answer to the question, the football team is where we're going to figure out if Hunter's the AD in the next 2 years or not.
And to answer Transplanted Texan, no, I wouldn't want Hunter Yurchek making the next hire.
No.
So I think that needs to go. I think your next AD, you need to pony up a little bit for him. We'll see what happens. And the Razorback raffle opens up in 3 days. I don't think it's going to do numbers. Maybe I'm wrong. But that is what it is. We're in a tough spot.
Yeah.
Even with Coach Calipari here, there's still, like I've talked about on previous show, there's still a lot of unknown. What's going to happen this fall? What's going to happen in the next year or so with Hunter Yurachek? And essentially, what's going to be the talk of the summer, the spring into the summer, is who's going to fill this basketball roster. So there's a lot. What is there, like 1,800 plus, almost 2,000 players in the portal? Roughly 30% of college basketball's in the portal. So we'll see what happens there. It's transfer portal season. So there's, or as we like to call on HQ, also misinformation season, because a lot of that's going to be coming soon from various outlets.
Yeah. And a way too early question, just in my opinion, because this right here, what are your thoughts on the quarterback? You got KJ Jackson. 441 yards passing, played 5 games. He rushed for a net 52 yards, 2 touchdowns, 3 touchdowns. So 5 total touchdowns and 40, almost 500 total yard offense is what you have as your starting quarterback. And again, a lot of that's probably in garbage time or what have you. But who is he going to throw to? Who's going to block for him? Who's he handing the ball off to? Yes, you have Braylon Russell, but what type of Braylon Russell are you going to have? This team, you lost everything outside of Mike Washington. And that scares me. And then on top of that, I know that we keep on saying Arkansas's schedule, how tough it is. It's pretty damn tough.
Yeah.
So that's why my expectations is 2 games next year. This is not a bash Arkansas. This is I just don't think that I outside of the Northern Alabama and Tulsa, I don't see a game where you're going to win because I don't see any talent. I don't see what this team has. When we're talking about how good they can hold on to the football, we're already talking about, the what was the thing I sent you the other day? His tagline, the hashtag that Silverfield put out.
Razor built 27.
So, here we go. I think we just need to do work. I think we just need to go out there and just do. We don't need taglines. We don't need no clocks on the walls that saying all in. We need to come out there. We're as Arkansas fans, they're tired of shenanigans. They're tired of the smile and the full tilt boogie and the vanilla and the left lane hammer down and the yes sir and the cold beer. Arkansas fans are tired of that shit. They're tired of these one-liners. They're tired of these razor built things. They want to see Razor wins. I know it sounds corny. I'm sorry, but that's what they want. They want wins. And until that happens, you're going to keep getting exactly doom and gloom. Because when you're in the SEC, 9 games, and you have Utah as one of your non-con games, it's brutal. It is a brutal schedule.
I took that as us being doom and gloom, but I don't know. Could I take that the wrong way?
What's that?
So I took that as us being doom and gloom.
Yeah. Yeah. It might be. Hey, it is, but we're honest about it. It's the fact that when you look at what you have, and you want me to go best case scenario 4 games, and I told you about that last week. I'm throwing Vandy and Auburn in there, post Pavia, Vandy, and then Auburn. Let's see if you're a better program than them. On top of if you beat Tulsa and Northern Alabama, best case scenario is 4 wins for me.
Yeah.
Now is that you get in a tough spot there. Yes, you won 4 games your first year, but yet how do we gauge that on? Are we going to start drinking the Kool-Aid because we doubled our wins?
Well, and that's, it's hard for me to gauge right now about I personally feel like, and this is no shot at KJ Jackson, because I expected him to be the starter just coming into this whole thing. I'm not going to be surprised if it's AJ Hill. Either way, I'm not going to completely buy into all of this until I see this team in a game this fall.
Yeah.
Because year after year, we get hype videos, we get videos of one-handed catches, we get videos of interceptions, laser throws, breakout runs, this, that, and the other, and we all get hyped up about players running 22 miles an hour because the strength and conditioning coach puts that out there. Like, I'm done with all of that. So it's one of those, I enjoy watching those videos, but I'm not going to hype myself up over it because we've seen what's happened in the past. We had that before last season and we went 2-10. So I just, it is what it is. And yes, Matt, you're right. It's a marketing department forcing, 1000%. It's what can we throw on a t-shirt? What can we throw on graphics? What can we hashtag? And it's exactly, it's a marketing ploy. It's a way for them to make money off of it. And we have no clue where the Link U unveiling of what's going to happen with Arkansas. Still don't have stadium naming rights. So it's one of those that we like to make announcements about announcements and then they don't happen. So we build up a little bit of hype and then we decide, no, now's not a good time.
Let's take a quick commercial break because I really want to touch on more of this football. I want to go into a recent interview that the GM, perfect segue, but I really want to hear a word from our sponsors at Vision Exteriors. We're going to take a quick commercial break. When we come back, we're going to talk about the interview that the GM, Ryan Silverfield, did, our thoughts from that. Then we can continue the conversation of where we feel like this is headed. We'll retouch on basketball portal news, and then we'll end the show with baseball and softball this weekend. We'll be right back after a quick break. Looking to enhance your home's curb appeal? Look no further than Vision Exteriors. As your trusted roofing, siding, and exterior experts, we're here to transform your property. Our skilled team ensures your job is not only functional, but also aesthetically pleasing. Along with roofing, we also offer window, gutter, and siding installation to boost your home's appearance with our quality options. Visit us at www.visionexteriors.com or call us at 479-397-4770. Let's make your vision a reality. And welcome back to the Hog Talk podcast. And perfect break right there. But, somebody brought up the Link U and all this stuff. Last weekend I had seen, I can't remember the name of the guy that had the interview with Silverfield and Crowley, but I really like the energy. I really like that. Hey, they're putting themselves out there and they're talking because again, we've heard from Crowley. He was answering a lot of questions, but I was getting a total PR. I heard them say great question 10 times, 15 times each in these interviews. And when you get the repetitive answers to the questions, it was like very scripted. So it didn't wow me. I mean, there are a lot of people who are like, man, I really like what he's saying. But when you start with, man, that's a great question. And then you go into it, man, that was a great question. You hear it over and over and over, and two different people in the same interview saying that raised some red flags for me. But at least we're hearing more from Crowley, and we're hearing more from Crowley than we have from Remy. So it's the thing that you're hiring these people to do these jobs, and I don't know what Crowley's salary is. I don't know what Remy's salary is. But what are we getting out of those people? What are we getting from the Link U? What are we getting from your executive director of player acquisition? What players are you going to get? And I know it's tough in year one, but look what Indiana's done in 2-3 years. Look what programs are starting to do in 2 and 3 years. And I know that it's damn near impossible to put that on the shoulders of Ryan Silverfield. But when you say you're going to bring in the recruiting class that you're going to bring in, you got the notion of winning now is there. It's tough. Is Arkansas and Ryan Silverfield ready for the task? I mean, if you want to bring up a power P5 coach, he's probably the best one for it because he has the wins to back it up. He did a great job at Memphis. Let's see what he can do at Arkansas. But when I'm gauging what we have with our roster, and when I see nothing being done NIL wise or bringing in, what did they do in the portal? I haven't heard any star player coming from the portal. What have they done? That's another thing that worries me about the landscape of art. And I don't know, Adam, if you've seen the interview that I'm talking about, but it was just kind of underwhelming
Was the one with Adam Berneman?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
I saw bits and pieces of it, clipped up quite a bit. It's something, and yeah, we do have a poll question. Will Arkansas football win more than 3 games in 2026? 1 for yes, 2 for no. But I go back to his initial press conference, and he is the one that put it out there that basically there's no 5-year turnaround. Like, this happens now. He's the one that put that out there into the universe. And so that's what I judge it off of. Here's the thing. What is a turnaround from a 2-win season? 4 wins? 5 wins? A bowl game? So I guess in reality, you could look at like, hey, if he gets, I mean, I guess from going 2-10, I would consider a bowl game a turnaround, and then build off that year 2. I don't have the highest hopes because there's just a lot of unknown about it. We'll see what happens. I know, like you said, best power was Power Group 5, Power 5 coach that was available. I just don't know if I trust it. I don't know if I trust much with football anymore. Not even just at Arkansas. Obviously being a Baltimore Ravens fan, it's hard to to enjoy anything in the football world right now. It's just so difficult to win, and I feel like Arkansas is always playing catch up. And I think that all of this revamping of things to put more money into Arkansas athletics and football, I think it's a smoke screen. I think it's a lot of words. It's a lot of just stuff they're throwing out there. Let's see if we can throw shit at the wall and see what sticks.
Yeah.
I just don't trust anything that Hunter Yurachek throws out there is behind. So I just don't see it working out. And yeah, poor pitiful me, woe is me, whatever you want to say, put up an Eeyore, oh bother, doom and gloom, whatever. But these are the cards we've been dealt. So I'm not going to sunshine pump. I'm not going to sit here and come out and say that all these things will be great when I don't believe that they're going to be. And I'll eat crow down the road. I don't care about that.
Yeah.
So I hope that I'm wrong about all of this.
And that's what's crazy. And that's the sad thing, Adam. We've been saying this for 3 years. We've been saying this, man. We want them to do good, but we want them to prove us wrong. We want them to be good. But it's hard to be doom and gloom, or not to be, when you steadily going. I mean, outside the 9-win season in 21, you have to go back to 2015 where you had an 8-win season. And in the 7-win season, you won the bowl game. 24. So think about, this is what we can think about right here. When we're going back, Liberty Bowl 7-6, you won your bowl game. 6 regular season wins. 22, 7-6, Liberty Bowl win. 6 wins, regular season wins. 21, 9-4. So you won 8 wins there. 3-7, 2-10, 2-10, 4-8, 7-6. So you won 7 games in 16 legit, and you won 7 games legit in when I say legit, regular season wins. So you went back to back 7 wins in 15 and 16, and then you go back to that 6-win, 7-6 team in 14 where you beat Texas in the Texas Bowl, and you got the extension. So what I'm getting at is, since Bobby Petrino left, you've only got 1 year, 2 years, 2 years since Bobby Petrino left that you've won 7 regular season games. 7. So with that being said, we know where the bar is. And when you see how we go about the season, we're going to judge this team off of, I think they're a 3-win team. So if they do good against they struggle, but yet they play tough against an Alabama or an Auburn or a Mississippi State, they win by, I'm going to be easier on them because my expectations is they're not a good team, opposed to I think they're going to be a great team and they fumble the bag. But this program needs help. But I go back to and this is the unfair part of it, Adam. You're bringing Indiana into the equation where they were 3-9, 4-8, 2-10, 6-2, 8-5. And then all of a sudden, here comes a guy named Kurt Signetti, 11-2 and 16-0, and they go to the college football playoff both years. I know that's not going to happen, but still, that's the peak. That's the peak bar that's been set. And I don't know if that will ever be done again. I don't think that will be done again in the near future, that a first-year head coach from James Madison comes into a team that's never won anything outside. I'm going back to their schedule and I'm looking at a team that I don't see any double-digit wins, and I'm back at 45. So it can be done. It's not fair now that where that bar is for Ryan Silverfield, but I mean, that's where we are in college football. It's going to year 3. Let's see where he's at, but year 2 is going to be a tough year. Year 2, when we're doing this show next year at this time, year 2 is going to be like, there's no excuses. You should make a bowl game year 2, or you should win 7 or 8 games year 2. That's the expectations.
Yes, Hunter was consumed with his chairman duties this past season and didn't even place in the Directors Cup. What do you expect after a second year? Can we say all sports are effectively suffering?
I
think
I would say all sports.
No, but I think that all sports are suffering from lack of funding.
Yes, absolutely.
And by that, I mean, I feel like
outside of basketball,
yes, but like Courtney Difel is, I feel like doing the most with the least, or soccer, or these other sports. So yeah, I don't. Hunter Yurachek is more about promoting himself and his resume, and than he is the University of Arkansas. It used to be the Directors Cup. That's what he would hang his hat on.
Yeah.
And now that he's got this, chairman of the college football playoff, it's putting himself in the limelight, because I'm still standing on this, that if this expands again and they have a permanent college football playoff board, he is going to be on that permanently. And I think that was going to remove him from the University of Arkansas.
He hangs his hat on these conference championships. That's the thing. He said it. This football team is not set up to win a national championship. We didn't give him the funds. Now we have the funds. Well, do you have the funds? We ain't seeing any of the funds. Where's this? If you had the money, you would have made more splashes, more movement in the portal than you have. Where's that at? So I think you're lying, 1. But 2, yeah, you're going to find yourself in a big pickle if you keep messing around and not getting funding for these other programs. And yes, Courtney Difel, for what she is getting NIL wise and what she's producing, yes, absolutely. And if she gets to Oklahoma City this year, and they got a tough stretch coming up with OU and Texas and Mississippi State coming up back to back to back, we're going to see where they're at and their hopes of getting, to Oklahoma City. But there's going to come a time where if these programs aren't getting funding, these coaches are going to go elsewhere and get funding, just like the players go to other schools. You've seen the one star in the women's basketball team. She went to UCLA. The team that just won the national championship come and poached your best player because you're not giving them money. 5 years ago, we cared about all the women's programs, and now we don't give a damn about none of them other than softball. I mean, gymnastics. Yes, I'm talking from a fan's point of view. They love all the women's programs. The fans love it. But Hunter Yurachek and the powers that be, I don't want to hear any crying about They don't care. They don't have this. That's y'all's fault for not funding them, because you were in a position just 4 or 5 years ago where your women's basketball team was making the national tournament. Your softball team was making the super regionals. Your gymnastics program was winning. Your volleyball program was making the Elite Eight. And now look at where we're at. And that all falls on the hands of Hunter Yurchek, but that will never be talked about because it's women's sports, and Hunter Yurchek don't give a shit about the football. He sure don't care about the women's sports.
Mm-hmm.
They're the sacrificial lambs. We need to raise money, and that's going to be a scapegoat. Well, we need to raise money for the football program. Should have got the damn raffle. You've had all these things where you could have done things to make sure that all your programs are doing well, and you don't care. All your programs outside your basketball program are in the crap hole right now, and you want to worry about being on the damn committee of this college football. I think you should sit it out and get your programs in order and then worry about doing something.
Mm-hmm. Well, and that's the thing, we looked at, because we talked about this a little bit during the women's basketball tournament, and some of these teams going out and buying players to sit on the bench. I mean, we kind of saw it with South Carolina buying Miriam Dowda from Arkansas.
And LSU did it with Jersey.
100%. These teams are doing it because they can, because these programs have money. These programs don't want to end up like we're seeing in the men's side of things. I think we can all agree, at least to an extent, the Cinderella thing is probably going to be done with the way things are. But, with women's basketball, there's only a handful of teams that get money. And so they're just going to go stockpile players like we used to see Alabama do, because a team like Arkansas, they can't afford to buy one player. And so that's where we saw Mike Neighbors try to go the international route, because you don't have to pay them NIL.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't work out, obviously. So it's one of those, you either fold, accept defeat, and come out and say, hey, we're just not going to do this. We're not going to fund this. Or you figure something else out. I don't know.
What's happened is, he's had half a year of his calendar with basketball and baseball being very good, that he gets to hide behind his curtain and hang his championship banners, and he wants to brag about this and that. And then he can go hide off and hide during SEC media days. He sends his coaches out, and he goes and does his little thing at the Little Rock Touchdown Club and his little hoorah stuff. Then he's got the committee that he gets to hide behind. And then guess what? Well, okay, we're going to blah, blah, blah. Then he gets to hide behind the curtain of the basketball and baseball program again. Well, guess what? And this, I might catch a lot of crap for saying this, but maybe it's going to take the baseball team to suck ass for them to finally make a change at the athletic director, because guess what? Now all you have is basketball, and maybe that curtain, the Wizard of Oz, the curtain's being pulled back, and they're going to start seeing you for who you are. And 3/4 of your programs suck. And now it's going to be time to make a change. And I don't know how loud we got to bark, how much we have to preach. But it seems like when we talk, sometimes people catch on and they'll follow along, because we see some of the same stuff on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, what we're talking about on Mondays. But I think it's time for all of us to team up, all of us to start coming together and stop being sunshine pumpers, and stop writing articles about how Ryan Silverfield's going to turn this thing around in year one. We're not going to be the Pony Boy radio show and in the mornings and talk about the sunshine pumping and how Ryan Silverfield's going to do this year one. Let's start calling a spade and say it's time for a change, because we want all sport being well, and it's not going to happen. Because guess what? Now for the next 6 months or 4 months, me and Adam's going to be talking about the Mount Rushmore of the basketball program or whatnot. Because what are we going to talk about? We don't know who our football team is, so we'll see. Yeah, who's Hunter going to throw under the bus? He has nobody to throw under the bus. But I'm not writing this in stone, but let's see if this baseball program, having the struggles that they're doing, put more heat on Hunter Yurchek, because he can't hide behind the curtain half the year.
Oh, that's why. I mean, I know. I just think that the thing that'll happen before all that is just going to be his contract turning out, which I think is what
Yeah.
next season, this season, something or another. Um, Sadly, though, I feel like he will go out from Arkansas unscathed. Unfortunately,
And
he
you know
won't.
what? I'll take a trade-off. It's the thing. As long as it brings us a AD who gives a damn and we start winning, I don't care. Yes, it's gonna suck for those fans who maybe, man, we've been delayed. We're talking about the coaches and all the coaches we've went through and all these programs. When are we going to start saying problems, Honey Yurchek, and they finally do it and we start winning? Okay, that's what we want. I know there's going to a lot of be a butthurt people saying, "Dadgummit, Hunter Yurchek, we could have been winning years ago." Well, you don't know that, but you're winning now, and I think that's what's going to happen.
Hmm.
But the sooner that the powers that be, and this goes on the board, they're the ones that calls a shot. Pay him out. Take your raffle and buy out his contract and send him down the road. That's what I'd do. How about John Tyson? Let's tank the basketball team for one season. Cal, hold up, man. I'm gonna buy out Hunter Yurchek's contract. We'll send him down the road and let's bring somebody in. Or how about this, Cal? You're doing great. 2 years. Let's see what you can do, and then you're going to become the AD at Arkansas.
That'd be something.
But how many people would be for Cal being the AD? Because if they want, you have the people that are wanting Houston up to be the AD. I guarantee you'll get enough people in the backing to be okay. Cal needs to be the AD. It will never happen, but we didn't need to change it top, and we keep doing this every other month. We're like, okay, maybe things are getting back, and you hear Ryan Silverfield talk, and oh man, this is good, but then you see the product. I don't see a product, and guess what? We're back to square one, saying Hunter needs to go.
Hunter's always going to need to go, so that's never going to change. No matter what happens at Arkansas, Hunter Yurchek needs to go. Point blank. Period.
Yeah. But that's our soapbox for the presented to you by Vision Exteriors. But it is sad. And look, this summer we're just going into off-season mode, guys. We're going to bring you our honest takes. We're going to bring you our honest opinions. We're not going to bring up stories or try to get just we are going to how we've done it and give our honest takes on everything going on with all the Razorback programs, all the sports. We want Courtney Difel to make it to Oklahoma City and win a national championship. We love what the golf team's doing and, winning freaking amateur masters, things like we can celebrate, talk about the good things. Your women's softball team, or not women's softball team, of course, softball, 33-5, huge matchup this weekend against Mississippi State. Baseball, they got to turn things around. But maybe it takes them to be that one that they finally have a struggling year where people really start to, okay, wake up. It's time to go.
We'll see what happens starting this weekend.
Yes. Alabama for baseball this weekend on the road. Daunting. I went to the game on Tuesday. They have a daunting task. If a guy's throwing 84, 85 and it's taking your batter's time to catch up to that and get some clean hits on the ball. The pitching was lackluster. Even the guy who come in, again, with us not really being that versed on the baseball team, we are not shying away from saying that, but the closer coming in struggling. They just didn't look like they had their best out there, maybe because it was midweek, but going in against Alabama in Tuscaloosa, this is going to be the team. All right. Are we going to turn this thing around, or are we just going to tank? Are we just going to hang it up? That's where we're at with the baseball program.
Well, hopefully they can figure something out, but if they don't, it is what it is. But just show up. Look like you belong there.
Mm-hmm. Times for the games this weekend. Arkansas at Mississippi State softball, 5:00 on Friday, Saturday 2 p.m., Sunday 11 a.m. All three will be on the SEC Network Plus. And for the baseball in Tuscaloosa, they will play tomorrow. It will be 6 p.m., 4 p.m., and 1 p.m. all game. Well, tomorrow's and Sunday's game will be SEC Network Plus. Saturday's game, 4 p.m. SEC Network. So we'll get a game Saturday, Arkansas, Alabama. So again, let's show up, let's show out. I know we're talking doom and gloom, but if they could turn things around, salvage this season, we've seen it before where they've had these losses and made it to Omaha. That's the goal.
Yep, definitely.
And guess what? That'll change everybody's spirits.
1,000%.
Adam, you got anything else?
No, I'm good.
All right. For Adam Hall and Porter Hayes, I want to thank everybody for tuning in. Keep those comments coming. Drop them in the comments section after our stream, talking about Cal and the national championship and how many wins Arkansas will get this football season. But for Adam Hall, I'm Porter Hayes. Thank you. Like, share, comment, tell everybody about the show, and we will catch you on Monday. And don't forget, Hog HQ Live, Sunday, 6:05 or 8:05. We're Monday, 6:05. We'll catch you on Monday.